This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released May 8th, 2024. Episode 666. Good Energy Citizen.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
I sound a bit weird today.
I'm going to say we're in the sick ward here.
Yeah, we're in the sick ward. Why? Are you sick too, or is it just me?
Well, I'm always sick. I have children. I have babies.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have yes.
If I'm not sick currently, I'm working on the next thing. But
right,
currently I'm actually doing okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two little Petri dishes is what you've got. They're
That's
just
right,
a Petri
exactly.
dish.
The real problem is they go to different schools, and so it's there's
okay.
two sources.
Yep.
Yeah, two sources of
fantastic.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yep. Great. Anyway, I'll try and hold out as much as humanly possible. I can do it.
Yeah. You can do it.
What couldn't do it is the Boeing Starliner. I was about to go live after this. Because they were going to launch like 30 minutes after we finished this show for the new crude Starliner test, the Boeing. And
that is a spaceship,
they just scrubbed.
Right? That's the
That
spaceship?
is a spaceship. That is a crude spaceship like Starship, the SpaceX Dragon.
Right. Crude spaceship. That's CREWED, not CRUDE.
No,
as in like a spaceship that swears at you as it's leaving orbit.
No.
I'm the hell out of here. That's a crude spaceship.
Oh boy. So they just scrubbed. They just scrubbed.
Yeah, okay.
It was a dodgy oxygen valve, and I was sitting there watching it, and scrub, get them out.
It's for the best. It's for the best.
Yeah. Anyway, it was funny how they said that rocketry is the game of 10 million issues. And if you have one issue, you don't launch.
Shut it all down.
And there's like 10 million of them. And it's like, how does that? Oh, my goodness, It just could be a dodgy sensor or something, But,
yes. It's, there's other things that are like that too, Dave, where if you don't have all your parts in, usually they don't assemble boards either. I always think about that one.
You can't, unless they're like bypass caps, and then, you don't really need those. Yeah, you can sort of, it'll still work without them. But if you sort of like can't get your microcontroller, or you can't get, some other critical
sensor.
part, right, then you're completely screwed. Yeah, you're going to come a gutter.
Exactly.
So, just sit there twiddling your thumbs. How many times have you done that over the years? Just sat there and twiddled your thumbs because you're just waiting because you couldn't get one part.
Waiting for the FedEx person to arrive at the fab.
Yep.
That makes sense. Many times.
Right. Yeah.
What is this? So Starliner is. There were actually people on top of this rocket, or no?
There were people on top of this rocket. There were two people. There were two test pilots on top of this rocket, ready to go to the space station. And they've only had one other launch, and it went around the moon, which was really cool, right? Did it? I can't.
I'm not paying attention to any of this stuff. Obviously, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they had some issues with the heat shield, I think. So,
okay.
Yeah, but apart from that, I think it was a flawless test last time. So they went, let's go for broke. Let's put some humans on there, and she'll be right.
Let's put some meat sacks on the top of this thing.
Meat sacks on top of this thing, and yep.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yep. So it's technically a redundant system because it's designed to compete with SpaceX's Dragon capsule, which of course has been routinely taking astronauts to and from the space station, right? Yeah. So it's it's fine. I mean, it's gone 9 or 10 times now, I think, and hasn't been a single issue. And the Boeing one was actually a few years back. There was talk that Boeing would actually beat SpaceX to taking humans to the space station, but then insert Boeing jokes here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, really just insert traditional timeline slippage and large scale contracts, right?
Right, but there's a thing about Boeing. I mean, Boeing's a butt of a lot of jokes recently.
Yeah, they're catching that, rightfully so. I feel like
because you're not on Twitter anymore, so you're probably not seeing the constant constant barrage of Boeing jokes every time.
I mean,
there's a Boeing
they used to have credibility. They used to have credibility, but it flew right out the window.
It was the best company in the world. Yeah, yep. Isn't there a doco on that? I think there's a doco on how Boeing lost its way or something. Something like
there's
that.
a new book. Actually, there's a link as well about the dark age of American manufacturing.
The dark age?
Yeah, what is it called? Boeing and the Dark Age of American Manufacturing. There's an Atlantic piece that's based on the book by the author. So the author basically wrote like a summary.
Oh, okay.
But it's talking about many of the similar problems that like traditional space industry has run into as well. Oh, not traditional space, right? But like the modern kind of outsourced manufacturing thing of just like schedule slippage because you have so many subcontractors, so many like requirements docs that are like flowing down the line. Whereas I think a lot of the, love it or hate it, I think a lot of the SpaceX like in-house vertical manufacturing has served them well in many ways.
It seems to have. Yep. It's great.
Seems like it's like longer startup costs, and obviously there's a lot of weird things you need to do to make it all work. But ultimately I think it has served them well in a lot of contexts in modern spacefaring industries. So
got it.
Yeah, I'll link this one into our show notes. The book is on my to read list, but yeah. I think it's generally it fits my worldview too of just like the management types getting in there and like seeing all the dollars and cents benefits of like
they
outsourcing,
just slash here
like,
and slash there, and
and then they miss some of the longer term. Obviously, there's the brand value for Boeing, but then also the cost of quality, cost of returns. Just like thinking about the holistic costs of owning a solution. It's like there are obvious downside. Boeing used to be completely vertically integrated too, right? And the carrying costs of all the people and the factories and the all that kind of stuff like that. That is very non-trivial. It's a very cash-heavy kind of operation. But at the same time, when you're in a high critical industry like aviation, it's beneficial in certain ways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have you seen the meme that's going around about the photo of the toolkit? You should carry the carry-on toolkit if you're flying a Boeing. You should have a standard carry-on toolkit containing, various glues and pliers and screwdrivers and, and gaffer tape and, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep. Because there have been so many in-flight incidents that,
I do wonder about that.
You might have to go out and fix it.
Would it give you pause to step on a Boeing airplane these days?
I've heard a lot of people who said I never had an issue with flying, but fear is the greatest motivator and persuader. So if you, I'm hearing a lot of people now saying, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking twice." Like they were saying, "I would never look at what type of plane was on my ticket." Right? You just wouldn't care. Right? Is it a Boeing? Is it an Airbus? Right?
Maybe what if you were like looking for like the seat map to try and find the best seat?
Yeah. Okay. But
the least worst seat, I suppose.
Yeah. The majority of people don't do that. They don't care what actual plane it is. But now, since the 737 Max thing, and also especially since the latest Boeing incidents, whether or not it's fair or not, that is
perception is reality.
Beside the point. Yeah,
that's where it comes in.
The perception of reality. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've lost count of the number of people who now check their airline. Shit, am I flying a Boeing?
Yeah,
it's like
there was. I saw some news article where they started actually putting the planes in the search results too. Let's see if I search to LHR. I think you can see it now in like Google Flights.
Right. I so infrequently fly that I don't know I don't know if that's always been there or not.
Yeah. Oh, it is traditionally not.
Right.
Traditionally not.
It's traditionally not, but you could find it if you go through a few more.
That's right. Yeah. If you like actually look up the airline, I would look up the flight number. Then you can go to like FlightAware and see, this is normally Airbus A330, that sort of thing. No, I guess it's not on Google Flights.
The nerd that I am, I always check what plane I'm flying.
Got it. Yeah.
Yep. Not that I've ever changed my
exactly.
Thing. Right. Like I haven't changed it, but I just like to know. In a nerd. And
I want to know the best seat that I can get for being miserable on a plane for many hours.
Right.
Yeah. But same as you. I'm traveling so much less, and I don't miss it. I don't miss some of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The only time that I've ever had an airline announce what type of plane it was, we were at Melbourne Airport and we're coming back to Sydney, and our flight was cancelled. There was bad weather, like it was real storms, really bad storms and everything. And so the flight was cancelled. So we're sitting in the lounge there waiting, and they said, we found a the announcement comes on, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but we've found a 747 and it'll handle the weather. We found one of these old school 747s, and I went, yes, yes, let's punch through this bloody storm, with this giant, For those who don't know, like 747 will fly through. Queen of the skies will fly through anything. And I think that's just before they completely discontinued all the 747s. So I got like last flight or something, Yeah, but they found her.
They still fly them. They still fly them. They just don't make them anymore. They still fly.
No, there's not in Australia. I don't think there's any 747 still flying in Australia.
Okay.
At least Qantas discontinued all the 747 fleet, I believe.
Okay.
That was a couple of years ago.
Okie dokie. Yeah, it's fine. Airlines.
Oh, boy. Anyway, now I have to know. Yeah, in March 2020, Qantas operated its last commercial Boeing 747 flight. There you go. Last commercial 747, 4 years ago.
All right. Well,
there you go. And of course, Qantas were one of the biggest airliners in the world that used 747s, because we're so far from anywhere that we need long haul aircraft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Oh boy. Did you hear about the Dreamliner? Have you ever flown the Dreamliner?
I actually have on my trip.
Airbus?
On my way home from Sydney to LA or to San Francisco. I flew.
Right. Yeah. That beast is even bigger than the 747. It's just a monster. It's just an absolute monster. But if you look up YouTube, I forget the YouTuber who did it, maybe it was a Wendover, or something. But they I watched this video on why the Dreamliner failed. It wasn't because it wasn't a good plane. It was just like they built it for a certain...
saying different things. The Dreamliner is a 787. You're talking about the Airbus 380, A380.
Airbus
A380 is the double decker. Yeah, that's
I'm talking about the A380.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an absolute. It's an absolute.
Yeah, that
monster.
I have not been on. That thing is. Yeah, that's
right.
600 some people that you could fit on there. Yeah, I know that's.
Yeah.
I don't fly to Dubai enough.
Right. Anyway, it's a beautiful plane. Anyway, I've been on. Yeah, it's because the 747 just has the upper deck in a small part of the fuselage. It's got that bulge in the top of the, fuselage. So it's only got a small upper section, whereas the Dreamliner has two complete decks. It's just, what an absolute beast. But anyway, so I watched this video about how it didn't fail because it was a bad aircraft. It was superb, right? No, they had a few teething problems, but generally it was a superb aircraft, but it failed because they designed it, they thought, because when you design it, how long does it take to design an aircraft from when you decide to do it to when it first rolls off the line?
Right,
8,
exactly.
10 years, right?
10 at least, I think.
Yeah, right? So it's a long time. They designed this thing from scratch, and they bet the whole company on it because they projected that in 10 years' time, the market will want all of these high-capacity long-haul aircraft. And it turns out, oops, that prediction didn't quite pan out. It was okay for a while. It lasted for a couple of years, and it was quite, so everyone was buying it. But then the market changed in terms of, routes and everything, where things go, fuel economy and everything to do with the market and which type of planes they fly. And, yeah, they just didn't want to, the airlines didn't, it was too expensive to fly now because of, all these certain routes that dried up and
totally,
etc.
Yeah, the economics are tough, I think.
Yep. So just imagine that, like betting your company on a 10-year long bet, and then the market changes. Like, oof, right? That's kind of brutal.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I'm not sure there's another market like that.
Maybe you could say chip industry stuff, right? So like, I think it's kind of evolutionary. I mean, A380 is also
we've never
evolutionary.
gone back. We've never gone, oh, no, we can't use this 10 nanometer stuff. No, we're getting too many issues with it. We'll go back to 20.
I think they are, though. They kept saying, like, over time,
really?
right? Like, yeah, well, like EUV has been a thing for forever, right? I mean, they said, like, EUV is going to be the biggest thing, and then it's coming. That's the only way you're going to get down to...
Yes, true. They bet on. Yeah, there's a lot of car companies that bet on the price of battery. What?
EUV. So like electro.
What's the EUV?
Ultraviolet electron scanning. Okay. Ultraviolet.
Right.
It's the methodology for doing patterning on a wafer, right? And so it was the only way you're going to get down to like the smallest sizes you need. But then they went to double patterning in lithography, and then triple and quadruple and whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like it's not like they had the technology, but it was like the efficiencies and the costs and just like and so it is. In EUV is used in the chip industry now, right? But it's like,
it's
I think
niche.
it's just for the small. No, I wouldn't even say it's niche. It's just like they kind of have gone back and forth because it's like really where is the? I think it's where the most economical high volume solution came from, right? So as like, some of it is just the patterns of light and the interference patterns you can get. Like that's where some of that. Benefited the old system versus the new. I think on the oldest, on the certain parts of the wafer, you don't need to have the smallest feature sizes.
So variable geometry across the die. Is that a thing?
Even within the die, I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, there's different regions that have different needs of, so like you think about it's always the tightest one is always the gate width, right? That's like the tightest measure on a silicon wafer. And so like you could have selective patterning that's only doing gates versus larger features, right? They've been doing that for a long time too, because it's just but then, you put it into the older equipment or something like that to get the larger feature sizes. And then the fanciest equipment in the fab is used for the tightest tolerance, photoresist exposure. So that's the closest I could think of. There's other stuff on our list about chip stuff. So it's kind of staring me in the face right now. I'm guessing that's probably also part of it, but yeah.
And as I mistakenly said, the EV market is another one.
That is another one, right?
There's a whole bunch of automotive manufacturers who came out publicly and said, right, we're going to be a full EV company by 2030, and they bet everything on it. And then they base that on the fact, the supposed fact that the prices for the battery packs would continue to plummet, and they didn't. So, oops,
Right.
It all hinged on that.
But they're basically throwing a dart from 10 years ago and trying to hit a target, right, in the modern era. Yeah, it's sometimes you just don't know those kind of things, It's tough.
Well, there's a thing on our Reddit list about the Tesla superchargers.
Oh, yeah.
You put this one on here.
They fired the whole team, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, is that a sensationalist headline? Because they're still going ahead with it. So I don't know how you can fire the entire team, like everyone that has anything to do with it.
You could fire the design team. You could fire the design team without firing the operations team, right?
Yeah, true. But that's why I'm saying it's probably a sensationalist headline that they fired everyone that has anything at all to do with supercharger. That seems like bullshit. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess so. But if I don't know you just sticking up for your boy? Is that what that is?
No, he's not my boy. Jesus,
he's your boy. Come on, man.
Bullshit. I criticize him as much as anyone. I just don't have
Twitter.
EDS.
You've talked about SpaceX.
I don't have Elon DeRay. You want me to start talking about Starship? I'll start talking about Starship.
You did talk about Starship.
And how Starship's going to come a guts up.
Starship. Oh, Starship is their thing. Sorry, you were saying Starliner.
Starship is the SpaceX thing.
They really need to come up with some like better names. We've got Starliner, which is the thing. There's been
people think I'm an Elon fanboy, but I've dissed him more than most people have.
Dissed him more than most.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't want to talk about Starship. I would like to talk about the Tesla stuff.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, right? Because headlines are always bullshit. The default conclusion you come to when you see every headline, doesn't matter what it is that 50-50 chance it's bullshit, right? That's just default with all news media these days, right? I mean, how can you possibly you just go in and read the article? It's like, oh yeah, we're still going ahead with supercharger. We're just scaling back. We're going to cancel infrastructure in Australia, but we're still going to be rolling out, and we're going to, so obviously they've still got people working on it. It's not like they fired the entire team. It must be bullshit.
Right? Well, they said they fired the entire team.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't believe headlines. It's bullshit.
Okay, what about the rest of the article? Can I believe that?
No. There's lie by structure. There's lie by omission. There's lie by headline. There's multiple ways that news media lie to you, right?
Okay.
So don't necessarily believe it.
Okay.
How can they fire everyone that has anything to do with supercharger yet still continue with it? How?
That's a great question, Dave.
Exactly. So it's bullshit, right? Yes, they fired most of them. Sure. Or as you said, they fired the R&D team.
You're splitting hairs now, aren't you? Are you just splitting your hairs? I mean, like, yeah, you're right. That is. But if they, here's what I think it comes down to for me. If they fired the entire design team, that is a forward-looking statement on the viability, regardless of whether or not they install future chargers. Who cares at that point? Like, it's more a question of like, oh, okay, so they're done innovating for now. That's right. What that says to me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I really care about. I mean,
sure. Okay. I'm just saying the headline's bullshit.
Okay, great. We've gotten past that. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. But they've cancelled all supercharger new supercharger infrastructure in Australia, I think. So
I mean, this is a big deal for the US because they've already suggested that the Tesla supercharger network is going to be the de facto network in the US. So that's the piece
because
they're
going to open it to other people to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll just have to pay for it, which is fine,
Right. Yeah. So now what?
I don't know.
I guess there could all be other opportunities in the market, other players in the market, whatever. But I thought this was going to be a bigger thing for the US. So,
well, they've cancelled it in Australia here. So for the entire country,
that's big too. That sucks for you guys.
Anyway, there's another article here. They laid off 500 people. So yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. Well, you already have a massive infrastructure in the US, isn't there? Tesla stations. Last time I saw the map, it was massive. You guys have them everywhere.
I wouldn't. I mean, it is extensive. Yes. It's not
compared to here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a bad comparison. No offense.
No,
I think Australia is just a little behind on a lot of things with regards to EVs, and so from my perspective, as a charger owner, as a electric car owner, that was a yuppie statement right there. From my perspective, as someone who's like hunting around for charging stations occasionally, they are around. They're definitely not around enough to support future looking. Like, so if the trend continued in a straight line, I think there would be
there's no way.
very big problem coming. I think some of this decision is in response to their internal financial issues. Like they were like 60% off profit or something like that.
Oh yeah, they were huge off, and the general downturn in the EV market. Like their sales are sluggish.
So this
apparently.
is like just changing all the projections. So now they said, okay, fine, we're not doing that. But I do not think it is extensive enough if there's a true EV, like all EV, like you said, right? Like you've said before, like the 2035, fully electric car companies in the US, right? If that was actually the vision, I think that is withering, unfortunately, given the current growth rates.
It's dead, dude. It's not withering, it's dead.
Yeah, I guess timelines being what they are. I mean, 10 years is a long time, but also a short time, right? The days are long, but the years are short. So yeah, I do think that would take a concerted effort to, if this and other efforts, start to stall out, then I think that 2035 vision is very much in peril, unfortunately. So,
right.
But I also think that depending on, Tesla as the only supercharger network, like I personally think that should be funded from there's not a lot of profit in putting a charging station in the middle of rural Kansas, right? Because of the cost of operations and the likelihood of it being used. So it's almost like in the air, in the public utility space, it should almost be, right? No. So like that's a personal opinion. That's some veers into political. That's fine, whatever. But like, it just feels like there's going to be a lot of unprofitable places that probably need infrastructure that are just not going to have it right now.
This is your opinion is backed up by evidence. Every electric charger company in Australia has gone bust. Every one of them.
Yeah.
I have I'm not exaggerating, 6 apps on my phone for all these different charger companies. They've all gone bust.
Yeah.
All of them.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks, right? I mean, and so then it's down to individuals. Right. What we need is like a Uber of people's personal garages, so you can just rock up to someone's garage and use their charger.
Rock up anywhere, and yeah.
And you know what, Dave?
Yeah. What?
The blockchain.
The blockchain.
And now for episode 666 of the Amp Hour, we will shift into promoting the blockchain for the next
still a thing.
40 minutes.
There's an Australian company called Power Ledger, and this is what they
do.
Power Ledger. Yes. It's an Australian company, and their thing is to use the blockchain to for people to buy and sell power.
I think my favorite version of this was I think there was an SNL sketch about it, but it was like, it wasn't Uber, but it was like blockchain plus Uber, but it was using people's toilets, and it was called Poober.
Nice.
Yeah. Classic. Yeah, I guess you and I don't really see eye to eye on cryptocurrency either. So, So what's it called? What's the one called? I didn't get the name.
Power Ledger.
Power Ledger.
Power Ledger. The actual coin is called Power, as in POWR. No E.
Just of course, P-O-W-R. You can't have a vowel in there. Come on, what is this?
No, exactly. So yeah, Power Ledger. Anyway, Aussie company, and there's I think there's 2 major ones in the space. I can't remember the name of the other one, but Power Ledger is the leading one, and the whole premise. Sorry.
Have you used it?
I have not physically used it. I have owned Power Ledger coin, but I have not physically used it. So, because
like you're part of the problem.
They're in, you can't use it at the moment. It's only part of trial projects. So, you have to be in some community that has the trial thing. So they shove a box in your house, and then you can sell your excess solar and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did see an interesting, there's a local program here where they started saying I think Powerwall was the only thing that's enabled right now, but they basically said we'll give you a credit on your Powerwall or other battery install, but we get 30 control events, a minimum of 30, maximum of 36. So basically like virtual power plant kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So they will subsidize the install of your Powerwall.
Yeah.
If I think they control it.
Is great. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and it's only certain times, right? So it's like
interesting.
Truly to like offload type stuff like that. That is that is an interesting future right there. And I do wonder about that sort of, like, that's a tough business too, right? Because you're basically batteries it's basically margin on top of batteries, which is, and like
they are expensive. Batteries are expensive. So the payback period for batteries. I'm going to get a home storage battery very soon. Once I get my new inverter. Oh yeah, once I get my new inverter installed, I have a new hybrid inverter. And I've expanded my solar system, and it hasn't been installed yet, but maybe in the next week or something, hopefully. Yes, and then I can hook a battery up to it because it's a hybrid one. And the good thing about the one I'm getting, which is a DI, as in DEYE, DI, brand, is that it supports all different chemistries, and brands. So I'm not tied into any one brand. So I can buy, I can buy I can mix and match batteries. I can buy them from anywhere, and it should work.
Dave buying remaindered batteries from
there's
Al's
lots of companies
junkyard.
in Australia. Yeah. Well, there's lots of companies in Australia that will repack, that will do custom battery packs using covered cells, or they use excess cells or whatever, or they use there's tons of different companies like that. So yeah. So anyway, much more options. So that's why I decided to go with that brand battery, because the other ones like Tesla, like you've got to use the Tesla battery. Enphase, you've got to use the Enphase battery, right? And they're like twice the price, more than twice the price, right? Super expensive. And I ran the calcs on it, like it's like a 30-year payback. It's like pointless, right? Absolutely pointless. But with these lower cost batteries, I could potentially get a payback in like 5 years or something, maybe.
Nice.
So yeah.
And so tell me about paint me a little word picture here, Dave.
Yeah.
What is one of the things that I was looking at this too, because the only way that I was going to be able to make solar work, I think, was to have battery on hand and then still charge it off the grid too. Like,
right. Using like cheap excess rates at night or something cheap.
Yeah. Like that sort of thing.
Rates at night. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but tell me, there was one thing that was, like, there's like the battery on the AC side, and there's like battery on the grid side, and there's battery on like the not grid side, right? There was like a bunch of like stuff that I didn't understand with how the block diagram looked like.
Right. There are AC batteries and there are DC batteries. The Tesla's an AC battery. The Enphase is an AC battery, which means it's on the AC side, which means it generates its own AC power internally, and then you just need an isolator switch on your house to switch it off and on.
Got it.
But I'm going to get a DC battery which plugs into a hybrid inverter, and then it's got the inverter built in, which will then generate the 240 volt required for my house during the night. But yeah, they're just wired differently. But basically, AC and DC batteries, they're two different things, and you have to wire them in certainly very differently.
Yeah, it's like where the cutoff switch is. Like one of them you can't cut off, right? Like the AC one you can't cut off. Is that right?
No, you can actually cut both of them off if you want to. But normally the DC ones, like my hybrid inverter, for example, it won't power the whole house. It'll have an emergency power outlet, which if the grid goes down, my house goes down, but I still have power on the emergency power outlet, so I can plug fridges and freezers into that, etc.
And laptops. I mean, come on.
And laptops and all sorts of things. Yeah, right. Right. And considering the frequency or the lack of frequency of power outage here in Sydney, I'm talking one outage for half an hour every 10 years, and I'm not exaggerating.
Jeez.
Right?
You have buried lines and everything like that, right?
Yeah, half buried, great. I guess, half and half pizza. Yeah. But no, we just have an incredibly reliable grid here, and so it doesn't make sense to have
that makes one of us
house backup, right?
A
full AC battery house backup thing just doesn't make sense. It's like okay,
whereas
so the power
in
fails
California,
for half an
where
hour.
PG&E is going out every other week. Yeah, it used to happen with our former editor Suzanne. She would she'd be like, I couldn't do the edit till Monday because like the power's just out all weekend. It was just like, damn.
Wow. All weekend. Yeah. See, I've lived in Sydney all my life. I have never had a 24-hour outage.
PG&E is just
right.
They're having a lot. Yeah. There are a lot of issues. Yeah.
I think maybe the longest one I can remember is like 5 hours or something, maybe.
Yeah.
And for that sort of length, you don't even have to power your fridge because your fridge is still going to stay cold for 5 hours as long as you don't
just don't
open
open the door, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's
Yep.
it is an interesting exercise when it happens because it's like
right.
you really start. I mean, like, and I have friends in South Africa and like that they have rolling blackouts all the time, and obviously California's been having this worse. And I think just generally as grids get more stressed, it's just they got to make tough decisions a lot of places, and there's sometimes structural things that are just in there, and it's just like, but man, as someone who spends a lot of days in front of computers and like electricity is kind of my life, Dave. I don't know if you know this, but it's kind of important to me. It does make me think that I really should have. I think if the stars align, I'll probably get a battery as well.
Right.
So
here's a wacky prediction, which is totally related to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Electricity will be the new currency. How's that?
Okay, Mad Max. People will become batteries. Whoa.
Oh, boy. Yep.
I do not. I mean, currency is the currency, and electricity is used with currency. So,
currency's going down the toilet, dude.
Yeah,
really fast.
That's really played out so far since we've heard about.
You might want to look into that funny crypto thing. Just saying.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I will. But you know how it's hard. It's hard to do crypto exchanges is without electricity. So
right. True.
Yeah.
That's why I've got silver coins as a backup.
Bingo, man! You're really going. Don't trust the media.
Yep.
Silver coins. Crypto.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about MREs next, Dave? I feel like
I'm not really into the MREs.
Not yet.
No, but not yet. But
usually people of your persuasion, they don't build more levels on their house; they build more levels below their house.
Right.
Yeah. So when's the bunker coming in?
Yep.
Yeah, you and Colin Furs.
Right. Yes. The Colin Furs bunker. Yeah.
That thing is.
I haven't followed that. Has he finished his has he finished his Batman garage thing?
He's still working on it. It's the wet season there, so it's England, so the wet season is very long, but
almost all year round. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It is some impressive. I get very anxious watching it sometimes because he's in tight spaces.
I don't know how he does that on a tiny block of land. It isn't like the guy has this massive rural block or something.
No.
He's just got like this tiny little terrace. It's not like a terrace house, but it's almost like a just like
it's like a townhome almost. Just traditional
tiny
British side by side.
Wow.
It's
people
don't watch. I mean, like it's not like this new unheard of channel. But if you don't watch it, I think it's like one of my favorite channels to like pretend that I need to learn how to weld. Like that's probably the main thing I feel when I watch this channel.
Totally.
Just like, I need to learn how to do this, man. Like I'm going to do what he's doing. No, Chris, you're not going to do any of that stuff.
Even my wife says, "Oh, yeah, we should learn that."
Oh, really?
Yeah. She loves that channel. She loves the Colin Furs channel. She's going, "Oh, yeah, learn to weld. Yeah, look at all the cool stuff you can do." It's like, yep.
Yeah, I always think about that. I'm like, I don't even know where I'd go to get bar stock, like
right.
Like I'd have to learn a whole new set of stores. Is it really worth it? I'd have to like talk to people.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I've been saying forever that I would take a Learn to Weld course.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My father-in-law was a welder for like 35 years, and I really just need I need a good first project. How about that? People know a good first project.
Yeah.
Tell Dave and myself, and we'll, I don't know, chair?
If I could weld, I could fix my Sinclair C5.
Bingo.
EV.
There you go.
Yeah. Because the chassis on that is completely buckled and rusted out.
Sorry? Aluminium? Isn't that aluminium?
No, that is a complete steel frame. Yeah, it's like a
I didn't know.
Yeah, folded steel frame. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I need to weld like support plates on there, and some of it's rusted away. So you need to fix up that kind of stuff, and like because if you try and sit in it, the frame just buckles almost. It's like it's
you,
lost.
You feel like squishy.
Yeah. It's
that's too bad.
You can tell it's not going to hold up. So I need to let World support frames on there and strengthen the chassis and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good project actually. Yeah.
Totally.
You got to have a project, right? We always say that here.
Yep.
We were talking earlier about a little bit about chips and EUV. They're interesting. All the CHIPS Act stuff we talked about years ago. It's kind of starting to play out. It's starting to pay out too. And so there's like 40 billion that's been distributed by the US so far. But the interesting one to me is the reading about TSMC coming to the States. Did you read that one at all?
I'm looking at that and what they've had, like worker abuse or something.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like reading it and I'm like, this sounds a lot like Samsung. I'm like,
what,
was
Samsung
I
had
part
worker
of this
abuse?
too? No, it's not like worker abuse. It's just like expectations, and U.S. norms and stuff like that. And so like everybody's jazzed about this because like, TSMC, obviously there's a lot of global politics type of thing. And like it's reduces, if TSMC is in the US, it at least would reduce some of the concern about geopolitical impacts to the island of Taiwan. But the thing is like, that is a hard freaking place to work, right? I mean, like they are really driven. And the big thing is like
when you tried to bring their Taiwanese culture to the US and the US workers went, this is kind of abusive. See ya.
Well, I think it's also like, I think it's probably like TSMC is not like just one of the bigger, better companies in Taiwan. It's like one of the best companies in the world it is the best chip maker in the world, right? So there's like national pride plus tech pride plus all this other, so like there's a lot of stuff wrapped up in there, plus like cultural elements. So like one thing that is very noticeable, I mean, my Samsung days are long behind me, but one thing that was very noticeable was the kind of the top-down military style culture that's at Samsung, because there's mandatory military service in Korea, and like it's a thing.
Yeah, right.
A lot of leadership was from there, and that I don't know if you know this about me, Dave, but I was not in the military. And so like
shocked.
that I didn't jive with, and
interesting.
That works its way into some of the cultural elements. Right. And like, so just reading this article, it's an interesting article. It's on Tom's Hardware, and it's just about like how people are interacting with it. I'm sure they're going to get through it. I'm sure it's just going to be a little bit of just difference in how they operate and difference in how they're treated. Because I think the same thing happened at Samsung, to be completely honest. Like the Austin group was very different than the Korean group in terms of like,
I can imagine,
expectations and stuff like that. But at the same time, like if you deliver results and you also get big tax breaks, I'm sure that they will put up with the Yanks for a while. So I just still can't believe that they're building this stuff in Arizona. There was another article.
Well, is that fab working yet? Is the new TSMC fab actually producing silicon? Or
I think they're very early days, because there's another piece. There is another piece on Marketplace, which is an NPR show, about the people that are trying to get hired, right? So there's not all these people in Arizona. There's like training programs, and there's like community colleges, and like basically just to be operators in these plants, and they're not hiring anyone yet, right? So they're like starting to figure this stuff out, and like it's a big workforce is needed, but like basically it's just about like the kind of the wait and see of getting this stuff going. And
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see how you boot this stuff up, because it's not completely fungible labor either, right? It's not like you can just hire someone even at a machine shop to be like, oh, now you have to go work in a fab, right? So it's like learning different methodologies and that sort of thing. And then the cultural element as well. So in that piece, they did imply that is not, that they are building two fabs, but they're not completed yet. I don't know the actual details though. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's
not really unsurprising though, I guess, when you think about it.
Which part? The cultural
like
piece?
An Asian company has, I mean, shock horror, countries have different cultures. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
shock
yes,
horror.
Of course.
Right.
Yep. I mean, yeah, like people bristle at 996, right? I mean, that's another thing, right? That's like a
bristle at 996. What?
Sorry, 996 is like the expectation that that some parts of China, they said that there's expectation that you work 9 hours a day, or 9 9 6 9 to 9 6 days a week. That's what it is.
9 to 9 6 days a week. Okay, gotcha.
That's right. Yeah, right. That's like 996 is like a thing, but it's not like a universal. It's just like it's basically emerging economies doing their best to they're working really hard, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and like some of it expectations around that. And I think some of that is also carried into the Korean cultures that I experienced, and parts of it I loved, and I'm sure TSMC as well. And like, it's just I think it's just vestigial of some of that stuff, and the high expectations because of it, because there's a lot of money at play too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I speaking of my old employer, I was actually looking up Samsung on Google Maps a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And like, I just like stumbled upon like, oh, they're building another fab there too. Right. Like, so like they're all expanding. I mean, they're expanding lots of places, obviously, but like, yeah, I was surprised. Like you can go on Google Maps and see just like I don't know if you've ever seen like the cranes that are required to build a fab, but it's just,
I'm sure
it's intense.
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's, sure it's insane.
Yeah.
Although they're not high-rise buildings, they're just big, wide, expansive warehouse. Are they single level inside with high ceilings, or are they
super high? It's and the thing is too, you don't want to have lots of pillars in the middle. You usually want to have like a huge open thing, so the spans, like you look at like the truss spans are often the entire width of the building, so that you don't have any. So like that's where it starts to be like, oh my god, like seeing some of these things. Yeah. Let me see if I can find
that's crazy
location. Because there's another one here. Here it is. Yeah, they moved out from where I had gone. Here we go. Let's see if I can send this to Dave real quick. And then, it is usually like, I don't know, 10 stories tall as well. Because usually you have lots of different, like the actual fab itself might be 3 stories open internally, but then usually it's a hollow floor as well, because then these machines that get moved in, they have another 2 floors of, stuff below the floor itself. All the piping and the pumps and all the mechanical stuff.
Yep.
And then below that, then you have all the infrastructure piece as well to move water and power and all.
Yeah. So you have entire floors just dedicated to moving water and other chemicals and things, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Nasty stuff too, right? Nasty stuff.
Wow. Oh yeah. I'm actually having a look at some construction photos now of various fabs, and they got a lot of cranes.
I guess it's only 5. I guess they're only showing 5 stories in this one.
5 stories. They're not huge in terms of stories.
I do remember they stack them too high, at least in Korea when I was there. So like the fabs actually are multiple on top of each other. So
wow.
Sure, I've talked about that before, but it's wild to see. It's wild to see. Yeah. So I'm still amazed though that they're doing this in Arizona. Like, have you been to Arizona? You've been to Arizona, right?
Oh, I've been to Arizona, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, I heard that Microchip Masters is back this year.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I've never been to that, but I've heard good things about it. And that's in August in Phoenix, which is mind-bogglingly bad idea.
Have you been to Winslow, Arizona?
Winslow, no.
No?
That's in Eagles Song, right?
Eagles Song, yes.
Yeah.
And they do actually have a girl in a flatbed Ford. Just saying,
Just looking at me, right?
Yep.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, Arizona.
People are like, episode 666 of the Amp Hour, switching to karaoke mode. Yeah.
I don't know why Arizona was ever a thing. I mean, when I think of Arizona, I think of lack of water.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
we talked about that, yeah.
Water is the number one resource for a chip fab.
Right, but they reuse a lot of it, so there is that.
Okay.
And they also pay really well, so I'm sure that whatever water is there,
they can just install a pipeline and
right. But generally, it is intriguing. Like it's a harsh environment generally. I mean, it is flat and I guess maybe they have good sources of power with solar and stuff like that. You need really solid sources of power. That's another thing.
Yeah, so you'd have to have local. So I'm sure they're covered in solar panels just to give you local. Yep. And you need big diesel massive backup generators because you couldn't have anything go down, right? You couldn't have like a brownout in the mains and then
you would never.
I'm sure
you would never be able to generate enough power for that sort of thing. It's just massive amounts of power.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they run straight from the grid, and if the grid goes,
and they get guarantees.
And if there's a brownout on the guarantees, right?
Yeah. So then, like the power companies on the hook for damages.
They treat it extra special. They're going to switch you off last, kind of thing.
Totally.
How the guarantee works. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but the thing with the grid is that it has brownouts and little dropouts and all sorts of little quirks in it, right? So maybe that doesn't matter. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could do some local filtering and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's something locally there to stabilize the power. I can't imagine them operating straight off the grid, but maybe, as you said, it's massive power requirements. Yeah. What is the major driver for the power in a chip fab?
I have no idea. I mean, like,
I'm just trying to think what it would be.
Well, I mean, like, but all the machines, all the robots, right? But then also you think about like the thing that's chucking ions at a wafer. Do you know that's just like a huge klystron? Like, it's just like
right. It's okay, gotcha.
It's basically just like winding up like gas in a particle accelerator. It's like a mini particle accelerator.
Mini particle accelerator. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like implantation stages are the way they do that is really it's magical. But then also like like the equipment I used to work on back in the day would have multiple kilowatt like RF generators on the bottom of it to strike plasmas and stuff like that. So like serious chunks of power. But I'm not sure what is the most power hungry. I mean, they also have ovens in there, right? For doing, what is that stage called? Not annealing. It's called, oh boy, Dave, the old brain crusties are starting to, the old brain barnacles are starting to grow in here.
You're right. Did you know that the semiconductor industry consumed 149 billion kilowatt hours in 2021.
Wow.
Billion.
Yeah.
Kilowatt hours. Wow.
I was trying to walk my wife through kilowatt hours versus kilowatts the other day, and she was getting very upset with me.
Power versus energy, yeah.
Right. Well, she's just like, why doesn't power have the time? I'm like, it's unitless. It's not unitless, it's per second, but then you also have it in hour. I was just like, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, maybe you could link her to my video. I've done a video on power versus energy.
She doesn't watch you.
I know. My own wife doesn't watch me. So.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a good idea. I mean, like, it is tough thing to. What we were really trying to do is like we were driving down the street and looking at gas prices, and we were just trying to figure out like what is the equivalent of like how much are we paying in equivalent dollars per mile or dollars per distance sort of thing, right? And like, is it what is the fractional of the current gas prices, if at all, right? That's the tough thing, and it's actually tough to wind back. I feel like,
okay,
right, because it's like $3.40 a gallon, which I realize is Yankee units right now, but like,
what the hell's a gallon?
Yeah, a gallon is 3.7 liters.
Right.
And I knew that off the top of my head.
Well
and
done.
So, yep. So basically, let's say for ease of use, $1 per liter, right? But then I don't know how much the liter will get you in terms of mileage.
Well, we'd like a really efficient car on the highway might be 5 liters per 100 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you got to like do that. Then you got to do the same thing for the electric. And then you have to back it out to like the power you're paying and the instantaneous rate and stuff like that. And This is something I posted
actually,
about on Mastodon the other day. I posted this. I don't actually know. Is it better to plug my car in at night when it's like base load is lower overall, or is it better to plug it in during the day when the sun's out and solar is back powering from maybe my neighbors? I don't have panels, but my neighbors have panels.
You're talking
so
just better? From a general,
from an environmental perspective.
A good energy citizen point of view.
That's a good way to say it. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could be the title for today's show, Good Energy Citizen.
Oh, I like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, not bad. Yeah.
Sorry, we're always thinking about a title,
Yeah.
Good Energy Citizen. Yep.
I like it. Yep. So like, what is better, Dave? I mean, if I know the best thing is like to have panels on my roof and then
well, in theory, if you know your neighbors all have solar and they're not home during the day, so you know it's pumping and you know they don't have batteries, so they're pumping out lots of excess, then yes, I would probably use it during the day because the power is going to come from the most local, lowest impedance source. So no, I get
the duck curve, right? The duck curve, like you should be trying to do it at like the bottom of the duck curve.
What's a duck curve?
The duck curve is this is off Wikipedia, so don't give me any credit here. In locations where a substantial amount of solar electric capacity has been installed, the amount of power that must be generated from sources displays a rapid increase around sunset and peaks in mid-evening. Basically, so this is when my friend Ari was on the show. We talked about this a little bit. That's when I learned about it as well. It's not like I knew about this otherwise. But basically, it's in the shape of a duck is the easy way.
Okay.
It's a duck.
Okay.
Yeah. But basically, it's like usage peaks in the morning as people are getting ready for work. And then as they get home and they start turning on lights and
6 p.m., it's the dip. I'm sorry, I don't see the duck. I don't see the duck.
Use your imagination, Dave.
Oh, God.
Quack, quack, quack.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. I'm seeing like a filled-in graph. And it kind of,
it's not a Rorschach pattern,
Right.
I see my parents and they're yelling at me about wasting power.
Oh boy. Yeah. So my guess would be if you know the circumstances and you can use your neighbor's solar, then I would suspect it's better to do it during the day. Yeah.
I mean, I think the best economic argument would be if I had on-demand pricing, it would be whenever it's lowest, right? That would be the best.
Oh, yeah. No, of course. Like if your state was powered from a nuclear reactor and you knew that your power came from that base load reactor, then it doesn't matter.
Nighttime.
Yeah. Night is fine. Yeah. No, well, actually, night is better because then you can balance because there's going to be more load during the day. So at night, you're better off switching it to night. Yes. Yeah. So there
I have it like once a week right now, so it's really I'm having very, very little impact regardless.
Right. Yep.
I don't drive very far, but
no.
Yeah.
But you are trying to be a good energy citizen.
Good energy citizen. That's important. Yep.
Service equals citizenship. Sorry. Thinking of some Starship Troopers there.
Starship
Troopers.
I knew it.
Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Man, that's a while. Yeah, that's
service equals citizenship.
Yeah. Didn't like the bugs in that movie. Not for me.
You didn't?
Thanks.
Really?
No. Yeah. I'm squeamish. It was there's some gross scenes. So
okay.
Yeah.
There's an analysis video somewhere of how Starship. Oh, you've watched it. How Starship Troopers is because it's actually based on a book which I didn't know about, and it's actually a socio-political thing. It actually this movie actually has a lot to say about culture and socio-political military stuff. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I think it was U.S. military policy and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It's got all sorts of things. So it's more than just a dumb action flick. It's actually if you analyze it, it has a lot to do with culture and politics and war and Anyway, I did find a 300 millimeter fab energy breakdown.
No way.
Here you go. Yes, I did. I sent you a link. Breakdown. Okay, air condiing takes 21%.
And Arizona probably higher.
Right, yeah, probably. But, hang on. I'm going to have a cough fit.
Okay.
Here we go. Mute.
All right, I'll read them off. 21% for air conditioning system, 10% for bulk gas, 8% process cooling water, 5% ultra pure water,
6% other.
6%. Wait, so what's the top of the top?
They're the largest ones. So they've combined tool and subfab into the same 50%. So tool and subfab are 50%, and then they break that down into thin film is 31%, and then 19% for
diffusion was the word I can't remember.
Etch.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, 15% etch, implant. Well, yeah, you have to halve these numbers for the total percentage because these are.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the other percentages.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the 50%. So you have to halve these numbers. So thin film will be 15, 16, something like that. Actual percent. And then polished, lithography, implant, clean tech. Anyway.
Yeah, thin film's got to be like CVD and growth, right? So like chemical vapor deposition, and then growth using the ovens as well. So like growing oxide, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you got them in a big furnace or something, right? Or something.
Yeah,
that's
what diffusion is as well. Diffusion is usually like moving the ions deeper into the substrate.
Right. So you got to heat them up, and you need gigantic element heaters, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Big like inductive heaters usually.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes, they take a ton of power. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. We actually got a breakdown. Interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Huh. It's interesting that they're talking about potential savings too.
Yeah, well, this report is from an energy efficiency standpoint. So they're just
McKinsey.com. There you go. There's the
McKinsey.com.
Sourced.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who's that.
Oh, that's a huge consulting firm. That's one of the biggest, one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, they've done the breakdown. I guess, these plants, they hired McKinsey to do a report on how they can save power. So they had to measure and break down where they got them all. So did somebody go in there with a whole bunch of clamp meters and loggers and
No. No, they went into an office with a spreadsheet like they always do.
Right, and they got the data sheets for the things and right. Okay.
Well, probably they could also, they have meters and all these things, right? They want to know. I'm sure they have. I'm sure the facilities groups have.
I'm sure it's metered to the wazoo, right? I'm sure all these fabs have, meter into. Yeah.
Because you want to like monitor for like power surges and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm sure they got
But no, this is a great find. Yeah, it's interesting.
Excellent. There you go. Well, I do believe our amp hour's up. Any dregs?
I'm having a meetup tomorrow. I'm not sure anyone's going to show up, Dave.
Really?
Yeah,
that's because you're not on social media anymore. No one can hear you anymore. You're just shouting into that Mastodon void. No,
I don't think I even posted it there. This is meetup.com.
He's wondering why nobody turns up and he hasn't even posted it to the only social media thing he's on.
Meetup.com is a social media of sorts.
Oh, true. Okay, you're still on meetup.com. Okay.
That's all it's ever really worked, but I don't know. Maybe tomorrow's a bad day. We'll see. We'll see. I gotta get my demo going. I got a demo I'm gonna take. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So there's no one signed up at the moment because you can see how many of.
There's 3 people signed up, but like if you've ever done meetups before, which you have, that's effectively no one signed up.
Yeah, that's effectively no one. Yeah.
Although down here it's been interesting. Like there's been fewer. It used to be like in Chicago, it'd be like 30 people signed up, 10 to 15 show. Down here, I've actually had more people show up than actually signed up.
Oh, so, because they bought friends or something, or.
Yeah, sometimes there's that. Sometimes they're like, well, I saw the notice, so I didn't click yes.
You didn't click yes, and they just put in their calendar.
RSVP.
Right.
Respondez, s'il vous plaît. Please respond.
Oh, boy.
Said with an angry French accent. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done a meetup in a long time. Maybe the show's coming up soon. in Sydney, so maybe I can do a meetup. Yeah.
Do it.
I think it's in July or something. June. Something like that. Yep.
Okay.
June, I think. Yep. Late June.
All right, man.
We'll see. Although I cancelled my meetup.com account because you have to pay monthly to keep it.
It sucks.
And it was like, well, I do like one event every year or two. It's like, why am I paying monthly for this?
At that point,
meetup?
then you could do the socials and just do that. And spread it that way. Yeah,
that's
I
what
agree
I thought
with that.
about. Yeah. So I just canned it, even though it is the thing that works, right?
I mean, yeah, I think there's discoverability on there, and someone new moving to town, they want to see what's going on. It's a good it's a good bet. It's a good bet. Yep. So now that Meetup's not owned by WeWork anymore.
Oh, really? It was owned by WeWork.
Yeah, they got bought by WeWork and they spun it back out.
Oh, so. and now it's spun back out because WeWork went bust. So someone bought up.
WeWork's always in the process of going bust. I think so. Yeah, right. I'm not. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh boy, WeWork. Yeah. Oh my God,
WeWork.
They were an office company pretending to be a tech company, and didn't work. Go figure.
It did not. It did not.
That's something you could have saved all that money and just went, ask Dave. Will this work? Where we just all we do is actually rent out office space, but we have fancy coffee machines and meeting rooms, but we're actually a tech company.
They tried to ask you at meetups and you just never held one. That was the problem.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable. A lot of companies could save a lot of money if they just asked Dave,
That's
even consult for free.
Right there. There's consulting. He'll make a PDF for you. Yep.
Right. Oh boy. Yep. All right.
All right, man. Well, hope you feel better.
Thank you very much. I hope so too. Yeah. I hope the drugs work.
Go drugs.
Yay. Catch you next time.
See you soon.